So
1-2, 1-2.
that's happening. So hey guys, Dan here from Your Guitar Academy, and in this video I'm chatting to Andy Crowley, who is better known to the world of YouTube as Andy Guitar. He's an absolutely lovely bloke. We had a great chat and we got it all on camera, so here we go.
Born and bred in Barnsley in South Yorkshire.
Oh, okay.
I went to university in Huddersfield, spent a year out of the university degree to do paid work at the Lead Mill in Sheffield, which is a live venue.
Okay.
Doing the lighting and sound, where I was kind of a venue intern. And then after that, made the decision to move to Leeds with friends as kind of that first step.
Yeah.
Rather than move back home and then see where in the world you can get a job and move there.
Yeah.
We decided to stay in Leeds and try and forge a life for ourselves.
Okay.
That didn't hold many prospects, really. One thing, it was 2008, so there were no jobs anyway.
Of course.
And there were even fewer jobs than no jobs in music or production, or all of that kind of thing that I was sort of interested in. But back home in Barnsley, I was aware that even in the late 90s there were guitar teachers and people who that was their jobs, because you could see them advertised in the back of the local paper.
Oh yeah,
where I used to be looking for either guitars or band members or something like that, and then there'd be adverts for people.
Yeah.
And that would be it. I find it really fascinating, and I've had lessons with those people, mainly piano lessons actually, where it's like piano teacher available and a number.
Yeah.
And you just go.
Yeah.
As a 12-year-old kid. Like, it seems mad now. You don't like get a handyman to fix something in your house without seeing 500 Google reviews or something, do you?
Of course.
You don't leave the house unless it's 5 stars on TripAdvisor. But, back in the day, you just used to do stuff and whatever happened.
Yes.
So, I realized pretty quickly that I was going to have to set something up on my own. Guitar teaching was there right from the beginning, though I did go on an agency type thing, not too dissimilar from you guys.
Okay.
But it was only Leeds centric. It was an independent one. But that was my first taste of teaching and getting paid for it.
Oh, nice.
At the same time, setting or getting involved, luckily, in a wedding and function band.
Nice.
So I was with those guys for 5 years, where I was the singer and guitar player. So. Luckily, I therefore got to vet the songs, because if I couldn't sing it, we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So I was with them for 5 or maybe even 6 years, and we never did I Will Survive or any of that.
Congratulations.
I know, thank you. It was a relief. But in fact, if anything, I was pulling them in a more commercial direction. They were very mod, and they were very Oasis type stuff.
Okay.
And I sort of pulled us a little bit more mainstream and made us do the Killers. Was massive then.
Oh, yeah.
Kings of Leon, all that kind of thing. We were doing songs that we really enjoyed to play live.
Yeah.
But I pulled us more in that direction. And then my only actual industry experience as a 22-year-old graduate was working in venues, in live venues, and Leeds Academy had just opened in Leeds.
Oh, nice. Great venue.
So I ended up working back at the Lead Mill for a little bit, commuting Leeds to Sheffield, which is like an hour or something, to work very late as well, and very long hours.
Yeah.
And then also working at Leeds Union and Stylus and the Refectory, and then eventually working at Leeds Academy and helping out with the lights for Thin Lizzy and whatever rap artist was playing that couple of years.
So you got to see a lot of free gigs there, essentially.
Some of the best were I saw Slash with Miles Kennedy in an O2 Academy, so 2,000 capacity maximum.
Crazy.
I saw Robbie Williams there in 2011 on his comeback tour.
Yeah.
Which he was a big influence on me when I was younger, because he was the biggest thing in 1998.
Big time, yeah.
He was the biggest artist, really, pop or otherwise. So yeah, really fun, but ended up to get enough hours, had to work too many nightclubs, staying up too late, and then fortunately around the same time the YouTube thing started taking off for me a little bit. So the website andyguitar.co.uk was set up in 2009.
Okay.
So that was, you know, 9 months or something after moving to Leeds and finishing uni. That was how early it was that I was sort of like, this is always going to be there. I'm going to make the website and I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, around the same time, to be honest, you know, started seeing YouTube videos and lessons, and they're already in 2009. There already seem to be all these established people.
Crazy.
And some of them aren't really doing it much anymore, but people are already selling DVDs and things, and having websites where you could buy stuff from or view their lessons, with big followings for the time. And I've said this previously, but I really thought I'd missed the boat with YouTube, 100%.
Right. Okay.
And I was only really started filming lessons properly, but just to advertise private lessons, in 2011 and 2012.
Okay.
Even if it was just on the iPhone or something.
Yeah.
Back then, that quality looked fine because YouTube wasn't HD then. You know, we'd only just started to get phones in our pockets with big screens.
Okay. Yep.
So yeah, I find that kind of fascinating. How I started at the time when everyone just started to get iPads and things, and I just think that timing couldn't have been better. If I was a year later, it wouldn't have been the same, at least. And if I was earlier, I might have missed a kick. I might have not released the right videos at the right time.
It was fate, absolutely. Because that is mad, isn't it? Because you're right. As soon as you've got the iPhones and the iPads suddenly anyone can film an HD guitar video, and obviously. And they did, because there's about
and they are now,
gazillion.
Yeah, of course. But that's a good thing. I think it makes it all more democratic, and it's allowed anyone that does it to put their voice out there, and I think it's a good thing.
The fact that you can get your personality across on camera, that's what I love watching your videos. It's just
thank you.
It's just your personality, and then it is because the best comments come about from stuff like, it's like having this guy, you know, my mate, who talks me through this guitar stuff, and it's just so easy to learn in that respect.
Who knew having a regional accent would pay dividends? Yeah. I'm sure, because most of the views do proportionately come from America.
Of course.
And I'm sure most Americans watch me and go, well, I think he's English, but I can understand, but what is that voice? And they're just kind of fascinated by it. I'm sure, I know my mum went over to America when I was a kid, and she said, everyone was just fascinated with all of their accents, the group of friends that she went with.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that you say about the best guitarists do not make the best guitar teachers, 100%.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure we would all still dream to have a guitar lesson from our favourite guitar player.
Of course.
Eric Clapton wants to teach me a few things. Hey, I'm all ears. I'm not going to say no thank you.
Yeah.
But when I started teaching in Leeds in 2009, what I was seeing was a lot of music graduates who were even beyond grade 8 standards, you know, doing their own thing and jazz and whatever. But when they were advertising one-to-one lessons, they wanted to teach at degree level. You could just see it.
Yes, of course.
And when I just did a little bit of advertising, or as I say, I was on this agency website to get me started, the people that kept coming and kept answering the ads and sitting in front of me were just total beginners who were like, teach me how to play this thing. I've never held it before. What do I do?
Yeah, of course.
So very quickly you find what doesn't work and then what works with people, and that it was that experience of teaching what ended up being 40 or 50 people a week.
Wow.
Mainly one-to-one, but sometimes in small groups as well. I was happy to teach 6 or 7 days a week because I'd never known that this was possible. So I was just trying it out. This was finally a job. This was finally an income, doing something with guitar.
Amazing.
I was just grateful.
Yeah.
And all the stuff on YouTube basically came from the stuff that worked with one-to-one lessons. So when people comment and say, oh, wow, this is like he's just sat right in front of me and we're doing it together, it's like, yeah, hopefully, because that's where my most of my experience is.
Yes, yeah.
And it's trying to put that on camera rather than going too much down the route of just thinking what will come up high in search results and stuff. It is Most of my 80% of my time and 80% of my YouTube lessons are all what would we do in one-to-one lessons.
Amazing.
Let's film that.
How do you decide what on earth to teach? Because it must be, is it just songs now, or is there always techniques? What do you go down?
Historically, I've done a lot of songs. That's something I'm moving away from now, largely so that I can get more Facebook content, because I can no longer put any songs on Facebook for copyright reasons, because I got done once for literally just doing a cover of a song.
I read about this. I
got fully banned off of Facebook for like 4 months.
Wow.
And it's not only been me, it is a lot more common than people realise, but that happened.
Wow.
But also I want to showcase or become known for teaching people, as in getting a player from a certain point to a higher level.
Okay.
Rather than just showing people how to play their favourite songs.
Yes.
I'll never stop teaching songs full stop. But yeah, so what happens is the songs get to an intermediate level because, for example, they think they've got to learn bar chords and that's the only way to improve.
Okay.
And there's a lot of people. There's like a lull between beginner and intermediate where the people just get lost. It's like a valley or something.
It is, yeah. It's a tricky transition, definitely.
It is, yeah, because suddenly beginner stuff can be quite simple stuff put together. Intermediate stuff is a lot harder stuff put together into songs.
Yeah, of course.
And songs are not designed to teach you anything. Songs are designed to sound good.
Yeah, exactly.
But a student just wants to play their favourite songs. So yeah, I'm moving more towards doing lots of little short courses that essentially are like little tasters or entry points for my wider online syllabus, which is mostly free anyway. Yeah. But I do also sell books and DVDs and now downloads of my courses. And hopefully by next month we'll have the Andy Guitar app out. So I've been saying that for about 6 months now.
Classic development problems, always.
Well, everything just delays, not least this GDPR thing.
Ah, yes.
Which delayed us by a good month because there was a lot of stuff and there was a deadline for it.
Yeah.
But yes, it's the case that the app could be ready in 2 weeks now if we just went all in and finished it. But the thing that's really working with this app is, and the thing that I don't see anywhere else, is our app is essentially a clone of the website, but streamlined, and so that you can download premium content to it. I heard you mention at the start of this video, before we were on camera, that you said you liked the fact that you can download some videos for your kid onto some kind of app, right?
Yeah, big time. I mean, obviously, Dave and Ava, the biggest one on YouTube, as you told me. But it is nice, at the end of the day, you're going to be sitting... I can imagine it from a guitarist point of view. From a little girl's point of view, we're sitting on a train for 6 hours. You just chuck an iPad in front of them with the downloaded versions of the YouTube videos, which is... From a guitar point of view, equally, same thing. You can learn on the move a little bit more. It does make a lot of sense if you set it up like that, big time.
Yeah, they're not every. I mean, a lot of people are on unlimited or have good Wi-Fi, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
And you need to sort of get it on there, and then not. It would be ad-free as well when people pay for it, essentially.
Yeah.
But yes, I don't know of actually any other fully independent. Certainly not YouTube Guitar Teacher, who also has their own website and their own app that offers everything that the website does, and that they've done all of that independently.
Yeah,
Which, when I say independently, I have a couple of web developers in Leeds, one of whom is probably my best friend.
Nice.
Is at least one of them.
Useful.
And it was through him that I met my now girlfriend.
Ah, nice.
Because he has a salsa class, and I used to do salsa lessons in Leeds, and that's where I met my girlfriend.
That's what you should be filming. Leave the guitar alone.
I have a little bit. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see all of that nonsense.
Okay.
But
cool.
you see my dad dancing. But yes, and to be able to, that is essentially paid for by people who continually buy my products. Amazing. Buy the downloads, buy the books.
Yeah.
All of that is invested back in, basically.
I don't know if you remember this far back, but in the first year or two, Was it quite tedious, or was there a moment where suddenly you had like,
I'll tell you exactly how it happened. I used to film about every 3 months. I'd think about it.
Yeah.
And then think, okay, I'll film 3. I always filmed in batches, and that's typically always worked for me. So I always filmed 3, 5, or like 10 videos. And then I did have an idea where literally I saw what's the lad called? Riptard, I think he's called. He in particular, and perhaps others, were getting a lot of views out of this play 50 songs with 4 chords or something. But all they'd ever do is just sing through them. And then I saw a little bit of, people offering more structure through YouTube lessons, rather than just teaching, hey, here's everything you need to know in one video.
Right, okay.
And what I decided to do, I was like, combine the two. I literally remember it as well. It's quite late at night, and I was like, I should combine those 2 things and make it easier than anything that I can find online. Because people are still paying me for one-to-one guitar lessons, yet there's all this information online.
Yeah.
It's obviously not getting through to the regular person, because that's who I'm seeing is sat in front of me struggling and paying me £20-25 an hour to teach them how to do it.
Yeah.
So that's when I initially filmed them on my phone, as I say, I think back in 2012.
Yeah.
Series of 10 videos. And then it was the first video from that. They were called Play 10 Songs with 2 chords.
Okay.
So one song in each video.
Yeah.
6 months later, I'm in a private lesson, and one of my students tells me that's got 50,000 views, the first one of them.
Whoa.
And I'm like, really?
Wow.
And then I go kind of like, oh man, like that's a lot of views, and that was filmed on my iPhone. Yeah. I should refilm those. I should do those better. So I did. But because I was thinking about the Skype lessons thing, and because there was no money in YouTube back in 2012, my idea of upgrading was to buy a webcam. I bought like a £60 webcam, and refilmed them, and was able to do more Skype lessons and other stuff.
Yeah.
But so I think I refilmed those and uploaded them in February of 2013.
Right, okay.
The first one of that batch is now the most watched video on YouTube.
Whoa, crazy.
It's just gone over 19 million views, I saw the other day.
That's absolutely amazing, honestly.
And that is definitely what's given me this career and allowed me to have this opportunity.
Yeah.
But also it was already happening with the first videos that I did, even just on a 3G and a 3rd generation iPhone, or the first iPhone that came out probably. Because of the idea, and also because of thinking about who the video was for and tailoring it for them.
Well, that is exactly it. Like, there's no nonsense on your videos. There's no like wanting to impress, like, here's my amazing lick that I can do at 100 miles an hour. It is just...
I really try, I've only done like a handful of videos ever with that, where I'll literally start it with, if you want to be able to do that, do this. I can count them on one hand, because that's what I was seeing everywhere else.
Yeah, of course.
All of these amazing shredders on YouTube just teaching something that was like, there's no way anyone else can relate to that.
Yeah.
No one I teach can relate to that.
Yeah.
And there's a reason people are paying me for one-to-one lessons.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that on there.
The following, isn't it like 750,000 subscribers or
something
like that?
We're coming up to that, and it's just increasing so fast now, because it was only about 6 months ago I went over 500,000 subscribers.
Oh, wow. Wow.
It's been mad. But it's all about... for me, what has become told to me as the legacy videos, the videos that I filmed a year ago that keep getting views.
Yeah.
So, I'm not one of those YouTubers that, I can upload a video and suddenly 4 million people watch it in the first day.
Gotcha.
And there are those people around, and that is its own thing. But I really prefer not having, not... The next video doesn't have to be a success, or I've got nothing. You know what I mean? There is a bedrock there that I can build upon, which is very handy.
With the amount of subscribers, obviously, it is steamrolling. You know, it's literally like a snowball that just goes like that, right? As it goes further down the mountain.
So it does at the moment, but I've been aware since 2014. Since I'm trying to think when the first video I did got to 100,000 views, when the one that's now on like 19 million or something.
Okay.
I was very aware that like that's great. That can't either can't last forever or won't last forever, or at the very least you shouldn't think, oh, that's the work done then. That's great. You know, it's because it can be the equivalent of like, you know, writing a Christmas song or something.
Sure.
And then living off the royalty checks for that forever.
Yeah.
But, you know, with social media being so new, that's just not the case. And I've known it go, as I say, all those people that I was loving the videos of back in 2009 or wherever, not all of them are still around, still doing it, or if they are still doing it, they're not pulling in the views that some of their 10-year-old videos are doing. And I'm like, don't be one of those guys. Come on, you can do it. You can build. So I was like, what is the thing that people who have already been doing this for, say, 5 years, what are they doing? And for typically what I saw was they were definitely making longer courses rather than just tidbit videos, just 5 tips here and there. And if possible, they were selling DVDs, books, courses. And also, you know, I grew up with like How You Learnt Guitar was the rock school syllabus and things like that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you obviously have to adapt to the new technologies coming out. Like you said, you're making an app, which is amazing. That a whole new audience.
Yeah, so we're keen to put something like the actual content on something that is on our own platform, 100%. Not least because, as we mentioned previously, you know, I was literally banned off of Facebook for 3 or 4 months not long ago.
Wow, that's scary.
In case anyone doesn't know why, it was just for just filming covers. They were just little demos of lessons, just really short edits, as in like, here's a teaser, go through to YouTube if you want to watch the full thing. And Universal are blocking people who does anything in the realm of that.
That's,
you know, 100%.
Mad. That's absolutely mad, isn't it? Because you think that, I mean, how many are there? I mean, there's just got to be millions and millions of people.
We see them all the time. They pop up all the time, and some of them have millions of views. But every time I see that, I'm thinking, not going to last forever. You know what I mean? They will get blocked at some point. They will have copyright strikes.
Crazy.
So that's why I am keen to, and YouTube may end up going the same way. It only takes a couple of people to fall out and the deals to be up for renewal and then not happen.
Gotcha.
For YouTube to totally change as well. When I see vloggers using copyrighted music in their videos, I'm like, you're shooting yourself in the foot there.
Yes.
Because it just means if it does take off, then it will scupper them. It'll be something like that scuppers them.
And there's no need to. There's perfectly good library music all around that sounds.
There's good library music. I'll just make your own. So I make a lot of jam tracks these days, and pretty much the jam tracks are like the bedrock of a lot of newer courses. Students really like playing along to them. And then also, like I said before, you can structure them. Songs were not written or composed to be able to teach you anything about guitar. We use them as that, of course, because we want to know how to make these incredible, or play like our favorite players, or write a song like someone else. But you know, songs are just written to be heard and performed by the player. So that's where I add more structure to it and things like that.
I'm so interested on like the daily life of a YouTuber. You know, like your living is YouTube.
Let me quell a lot of myths right there. Boring as hell.
Boring as hell.
It 100% is, because if let's say I'm filming a lot of videos that week. So let's say I'm making a new course that's 10 videos. What I'll try and do is film them in a day. But that means many days before that, there has to be an awful lot of planning. Which can be anywhere from 6 months to be sort of it dwelling in the back of your mind for 3 years or something. And then you actually write what will become the ebook, but at least notes for yourself so you can film enough.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then it's a lot of editing.
Yes.
And then if every 2 months, it's a couple of days of accounting because I need to keep my accounting bang up to date. And all of that essentially is done on your own. I work from home. I'm home now. I have a little office, which is the third bedroom upstairs. That's where I film everything from, edit everything from. So what I'm keen to do, well, I've got a little team around me, but the couple of guys that do my website are based in Leeds. Right. So that's a couple of hours on the phone each week with those guys, making sure everything's ticking over there and they know what they're doing, and to discuss any creative stuff. My accountants do a lot of the accountancy side of things in terms of the tax return and whatnot. So my accounting is just the expenses side of things and keeping everything up to date. But it's still, I think people are kind of surprised it's a proper job. I know that my brother in particular just thinks I don't do anything. I don't work anymore. Right. I live on holiday, and that's it. You know, how does this happen? But as you will no doubt realize, just uploading 4 videos a week for 2 years could be a full-time job.
For sure.
It doesn't take up all my time, but it easily could.
Yeah, of course.
And to then be able to have around 20 videos a month that are for other things like other courses, a DVD, something special, some kind of bulk upload for YouTube. That takes a lot of work and a lot of planning and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I don't doubt at all. I mean, even just the bits that we do on YouTube take time, you know, and like you said, most people self-edit as well. You know, you don't have like an editing suite person that you send to. We're not, you know, Blockbuster movie.
Or even if you do, because I have used editors in the past for the last couple of years. I do have a friend who helps me edit some videos down here. None of them have ever actually played guitar.
No way.
So anything where one of them plays piano, so I'm looking forward to doing some piano videos for her. But with the technical aspects of the guitar playing, or whether something's right or not, if there's anything approaching that, I've got to edit it.
Yeah, of course.
Because if it's wrong, I can't have that going up.
Yeah, of course.
You know, but it will be a case of perhaps editing how something is said as well. You know, on the more talking videos that I've done, you have to decide whether you're going off on one or whether it is needed.
Of course, yes.
You know, and there's only the creator can really make that judgment. So I'm really, it's really exciting to be able to do it all on your own terms because you have total creative control.
Yeah, amazing.
Which is what musicians strive for and artists and bands all strive for.
Yeah.
But then they are perhaps too eager to sign the record deal when they could have done more themselves and probably been better off for it.
Yeah.
I find all of that stuff very interesting as well. The original stuff as a band, I definitely went, that ain't gonna happen pretty much before I'd finished university.
Really? Okay.
Because I did try, when I was at the Lead Mill in 2006 and working at the venue doing live bands and stuff, I did have my own band then, and they were essentially playing my songs and things.
Nice.
And we did play a gig at the Lead Mill, which I have to say was kind of in the back of my mind as, I want to do that.
Amazing.
But everything sort of led up to that Lead Mill gig, like playing bigger gig, and then we got to the Lead Mill gig, and then everything just totally died, and like nobody wanted to really do it anymore. The rest of the band, I think, were happy with that and all wanted to do something else after that.
Yeah.
And I was like, hoping that, thinking if there was going to be a springboard, that might be it. Everyone heard the songs and they all went, yeah, it's good. No one said, I love it.
Right.
No one said, these songs are amazing, everyone has to hear them. Everyone said, yes, it's good. So I was like, okay, there's something about my songwriting that just doesn't connect emotionally to people. Or my singing or playing, like, that's not the thing that people are gonna... I love it as an asset that I feel demo a lot of singer-songwriter stuff a lot better than most guitar teachers, because most guitar teachers don't sing.
Exactly.
Just a little bit.
Big
so I feel that often I'm more qualified for that kind of thing than some of the shred type stuff that people teach.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was and I think it's hard for a lot of musicians to let go of that dream.
Yeah. Big time.
And if it genuinely is your dream, then that's all good. But I think these days the dreams of people are so different. Most 10-year-olds want to be YouTubers.
Absolutely, man.
That's actually what they want. And when I actually did some guitar teching for a friend of mine at a venue in Leeds, and they were on a proper tour. King Charles, the artist's name was, it was a good gig, and I got to deal with some lovely guitars and meet some lovely people. But as soon as all the backing band figured out what I did, I was getting questions left and right, and I'm like, just tuning guitars, mate. You know, what do I know? But they're like, no, tell us about it. Tell us about YouTube. What do you do? What do you do? And that was that must have been 3 years ago.
Right. Okay.
And I went, you're doing nothing wrong here, Andy. Just keep your head down and keep doing it. Because I did keep doing the live music thing.
Okay.
As in sound and lighting for bands. Okay. Probably a lot longer than I should have.
Okay.
Because I'd already fallen out of love with it, but that for me was the proper music industry.
Gotcha. Okay.
I was going to see Slash and Robbie Williams and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And then my cover band or the teaching was like me trying to make something work, or me doing what comes natural, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And if it's only in hindsight you go, if I was still doing rock gigs that I go to music festivals now, I'm like, how did I do lights for this sort of thing just for like 20 hours straight? How did I do that? Why did I want to? Why didn't I just want to go to the festival, enjoy it, and then go home?
You at some point you obviously loved it. It just died off a little bit gradually.
Yeah, as it can, and as it should do when you get that feeling that this is it for me. Because all lighting engineers were computer whizzes. They were programmers, really.
Of course.
I was never a programmer.
Okay.
I love the creative bit of flashing the lights on stage with the band. I thought that was great because that feels like you're part of the band. You may as well be on stage. That was great.
Yeah.
And all sound engineers are repairmen. The best ones, they have a great set of ears and all that kind of thing. Yeah. But when there's nothing happening and they have dead time, they repair stuff because they know they want everything to work when it matters.
Of course, yeah.
And I was like, again, I'm not really a repairman. I suck at soldering. So I was always there. You fall out of love with it because you realise, this isn't what I'm meant to be doing. And you should listen to that.
Seeing as we are both guitar players, we have to do a little bit of guitar chat, right? How about starting off with, do you have still favourite guitar players that you listen to, or is it more just about wider music and bands? So
I am quite a common case, I think, but I'm not a common case of people who do music professionally. Okay. I'm a common case of the general music fan.
Yeah.
As in, you have the early influences that you can't help because it's just you watched something when you were 6 years old and that was that. Mm-hmm. And then you have the bands that sort of made a difference or turned you on to something that you hadn't heard before.
Okay. Yeah.
Because when I was 6 years old, saw Back to the Future for the first time and Marty McFly playing one of those guitars that's in your background, which I have to ask you about. What is it?
Well, that's a 339, but you probably mean a 335, right? That's like a smaller bodied version of that.
Yeah, man. I think it's a 345 that was used on the on there, which just seems to be a bit more of a flash version. But that just seemed like the most fun that you can have.
Yeah.
It's also watching that and people dancing to it is one of the reasons why I ended up going to dance classes as a 25-year-old man. Wow. And then ended up meeting my girlfriend through that. Amazing. So it's a funny thing how much Marty McFly. My brother says, you basically still just want to be Marty McFly, don't you? I'm like, yeah.
We all do. Oh my God.
But it's this, isn't it? And it's not. And again, it's a very common thing for the regular person to think that that's the best thing. That just is guitar playing for. What I didn't do is grow up. I grew up in a musical household, but I wasn't brought up on the Beatles or the Stones. Okay. I don't have this encyclopedic knowledge of music from my teenage years and from my family. I just don't. I have that more kind of niche love. My mum's into like musicals and things like that. My brother's into really heavy stuff like Nine Inch Nails and quite computer type music. Sister was into 80s pop because that's what she was brought up with, and my dad was into status quo.
Whoa,
you know,
nothing wrong with that.
It's like all these different things, and I think explaining that explains why I got into certain bands, because I started playing in a kind of rock cover band with people from school at 15 and 16. And then around that time, there was no guitar music in the charts for a few years. Maybe the Strokes had just happened and stuff.
Nice.
But then, literally, The Darkness came out of nowhere in 2003.
Yes.
And I remember watching that for a little bit on telly and just thinking, that's the most thing, that looks like the most fun I've ever seen anyone have. What is that? And I'd only caught the last 30 seconds of it. And there was no internet, I couldn't Google it. So I was like, what the hell was that? And I think it was them on Jules Holland.
They were on Jules Holland? Wow.
Which is outstanding. If anybody searches, I believe in a thing called Love the Darkness on Jules Holland back in 2013.
Yeah.
Tell me it's not one of the greatest things. It's just one. It's just a joy.
Yep.
Yep. But then what I did, well, it was them and with Robbie Williams, as I mentioned earlier in this, which again is a weird thing for the guitar teachers to cite. Robbie Williams is like a big influence as to why you play guitar, but it is biggest thing since sliced bread. Yeah. At the time, biggest thing since the Spice Girls. This is what we had in the 90s, and I just missed that Oasis thing.
Oh,
Brother wasn't into Oasis, so I got into Oasis way later. Like 2002, I'm getting into Oasis.
Okay.
But in the 90s, it was like Robbie Williams is like this big superstar.
Yeah.
And I'm learning some songs like on the piano and getting the music books because my mum bought me the music books. And everywhere I'm seeing Angels by Robbie Williams and Guy Chambers.
Yeah.
Let Me Entertain You by Robbie Williams and Guy Chambers. On every song, I'm like, who's this Guy Chambers guy?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Guy's name's on it all over these albums and songbooks and things. No one knows what it looks like. And in the back of my head, I'm going, that sounds like a good idea. That sounds like a good job.
Okay.
He's obviously on some, getting paid something.
Yep.
His name's on everything, so he's got some ownership of this stuff, but no one knows what it looks like. I'm like, that sounds like a job I could do.
Yeah.
Rather than being the superstar, just be the guy that is involved in the production. And that's when I started looking in the back of albums and seeing mixed by someone and artwork by. There's all these other jobs.
I see.
And that's when I really realised you don't have to have your name in lights to earn a living out of music.
Yeah.
That was probably about 14 years old. That really helped. That's what I got from Rob Williams' stuff, 100%. There are these superstars. If you can find them, brilliant, but you don't have to be one to make a career in music.
Do you know what? That's genuinely really young to understand that, because I think
so too.
14.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still the time where you're like, I'm going to be, Nirvana or something like that, and to get that.
I could never sing back then. I only started singing out of necessity because the singer left the cover band. So I was not self-sufficient, which is the only reason I kept singing after he'd left and we kept doing it, because then I was like, well, at least the singer can't leave because it's me. There's one more person not to have to find. And it was fine. We were doing pubs. It was I was as good a singer as anyone that we were hiring. And then I tried to get better, and I knew the other people we would have hired wouldn't have got better.
Sure.
So that's that. But then the thing that really struck me about The Darkness and why they are such an influence. Not only did it just look like this ridiculous thing from another planet and just looked like a lot of fun, and was the guitar sound that I was like, that's what I've been wanting to play. I'll just learn that. Brilliant.
Yeah.
But I learned quite early on from them that they'd been trying to get an album deal and a record deal for about 4 years, and it even gone back longer than that, from the 90s. But everyone thought they were ridiculous. Everyone thought they were a joke band, and no one gave them the time of day. So what they did was got the money together to record their own album, I think, from doing advert jingles and stuff like that.
Yes.
And paid for their own album, had the recordings, had it done. Then it was becoming obvious that they were going to become this big thing because their gigs were going down so well, because they could really play live.
Sure. And
then they got offered a recording deal, but they just licensed it to the record company, got worldwide distribution. Back when albums then were costing £8 to £10. For every album sale, The Darkness were taking £4 to £5 out of that for themselves.
Wow.
And if they'd have signed a record deal earlier and not recorded it all themselves, they'd have taken about 20 to 30 pence per album sold.
Whoa. Okay.
So I was like, wow, like, they're not businessmen, and you shouldn't use the Darkness model as like that's the way to go, because they've done a lot of things. I think but I've been disappointed with how the rest of their career has tailed out, to be honest with you.
Yes.
But back then, like that just set them up for life. That set them up for life. That decision. Record it themselves and license it.
Yeah, very smart. Just a little bit of business knowledge, isn't it? Just music business knowledge is all. It
goes a long way, and most musicians haven't got any. And I think we are all the musicians that are fantastic are all guilty of too much thinking it's about the playing and not enough about other aspects of what you do, like how you treat people, how you present yourself. And how looking after the business side of things. Yeah, because you've got to earn a living from it, otherwise you can't do it.
I had to listen to your album the other day. It's First Words, right? Is it First Words? Have I got that right?
First Words. That's on Spotify.
I loved it because do you know what? I was listening to this thinking, okay, exactly what you said earlier. As a guitar teacher, you're always looking for songs, and can I teach a guitar part that's relevant to this chord and la la la. I was listening through your tracks and just thinking, you could literally write a whole course based on these because the guitar, as you'd expect from a guitar player, is very prominent in the mix. It's built around guitar parts, quite a lot of the tracks, and some heavy keys in a lot of it as well. And it's just like, good music, like rock and roll. It's got catchy melodies. When did that come out anyway? Was that recently?
So that was 2012. That was
it really?
So quite early on.
Wow.
There's some music videos of a couple of them as well. Music videos. I'm filming myself recording it basically.
Nice.
So there's two reasons that I had to kind of get that out. One was I really wanted to get into co-writing. I knew I wasn't the superstar, and I knew I wasn't having my name as the artist was not going to sell any of these. So let's get it out there. Let's get it on Spotify. And it advertises what I can do. As much from a production point of view as the singing and playing. 100%. I just wanted it. It was just getting... It had been too long of me earning a living as a musician to not have an album out.
Okay.
But I knew I was never going to tour it or anything like that. It was like, let's put that out there and hopefully some co-writes would come from it. Mm-hmm. But the other reason is back in like 2010, my dad died. And there's quite a few songs off of that album that actually stem from that period of sort of dealing with it. And I think I tried to turn a real positive spin on it. You don't seem to think the album was a downer.
Not at all.
So hopefully it did have a real positive aspect to it. And the reason why that happened, or that made me do that, was there were so few photos of my dad. It was ridiculous. There was no video of him. There's so few photos. There's a lot of photos of him with us as kids and things like that. Yeah. But of him on his own or him and my mum, just so few. Okay. And I was like, that's just not what should be. There's so many photos taken now. This is back in the day when we used to go on holiday for 2 weeks and take a disposable camera and there'd be 20 photos. Yeah, of course. We just don't live in that time anymore.
No, yeah, exactly.
So therefore I was like, well, rather than waiting to write the perfect album or anything, this one needs to come out now so I can always have that in the back catalogue. It advertises what I do. I believe I had a crop of good songs that I spent a lot of time working on, a lot of time coming up with ideas and throwing them out because they were no good. And I knew that wouldn't always be the case as well. So I was like, let's get that out then. Yeah. But I actually finished it after so 6 months after I made the video that has given me this career. Yeah. Right? Yeah. 6 months after that, I had a hand injury, which meant I couldn't play guitar for 1 year.
Nightmare. Oh my God.
That was from the end of October, like November 2013. And that knocked me out for all of 2014. Whoa. So as to have something to share, I'd already finished the album. That I'd just put a few keys on it and vocals and finished a couple of bits, but it was already done. Yeah. So at the time, I've got no content for YouTube. I've got nothing to put out. Well, let's release this as properly as we can and do some music videos for it and get that YouTube content up there to sort of keep it stumbling along, and that'll do that. And I did. And it made me feel a bit better about having a hand injury because I was putting something out. Yeah. But honestly, if you search for any Christmas tutorials of mine, a lot of them I'm sat next to my buddy Dave, who was my hands for a year on YouTube.
Amazing.
I'd sit giving the lesson, and then my mate sat next to me, demoing. I'm like, this next chord is a C chord, Dave, strum. Like, it's ridiculous.
That's like a dream.
And you know what? Nobody minded.
Really?
Nobody. I never got a comment going, "This is stupid. Why aren't you teaching?"
Yeah.
I think I said in the first video that I did that it was because I'd hurt my arm or something.
Yeah, yeah.
At the time, I don't know. I knew it was bad because it did come up out of nowhere. But, you know, I suspected that I still had 10 fingers and things. So,
okay.
you know, there was always a chance that I'd be able to come back. So it was just kind of hobbling along. And that I'd already decided on the beginner thing for the reasons that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
You know, to do beginner lessons and to do that. But after the injury happened, I was really glad I'd chosen to do beginner lessons, because if I was making my living as a full-time performer, then you'd retire. You're done. Retrain, do something else.
Oh man.
Open a chip shop or something. That was going to be the idea for a while. And Andy's fish and chips.
Oh, I'm sure it
really was. I'm not kidding you. It was bad. It was bad at one point.
Oh, it must have been.
But all the time through that, could never stop doing one-to-one lessons. Students didn't mind at all.
Huh.
I had videos of me playing already, so I could refer them to that. I used that time to create my books and courses.
Yeah.
I did manage to turn it into a positive, but it was difficult. But then when I started filming myself again, which was a joy to do, absolute joy.
Yeah.
It was all the beginner lessons. So the fact that I couldn't play faster stuff didn't matter. I was just teaching easy stuff. Has
it fully recovered since then? Are you able to do what you could do before?
To all intents and purposes, yes, but I'm careful with it, because all of these sorts of injuries, as you know, if you've had a niggle with your knee or if you've got a bad back, you know there are bad days and good days, and you know what you can do to bring it on.
Gotcha.
Okay. You can't. I'm 31 now, which is not ancient, but it's also the point when everyone starts to go, yeah, I can't do that anymore. That was daft. Some of it I used to do rock climbing a little bit as a hobby, just for fun, and it's just one of those things you go, I can never do that again. Never do that again.
Yeah.
Gym work also brought it on. Gym and a lot of guitar playing and playing live with the band, carrying high PAs and stuff, and working from home, doing a computer all the time.
Yeah.
Bad posture. I'm a poster boy for RSI type stuff.
So it was.
But
RSI.
now I know that I can manage it really well.
Okay.
Manage it really well.
So this was not a break or anything. This was literally RSI.
It came on one Wednesday afternoon, and that was that.
Wow.
And I was at the doctor's the next day at the GP, and a week later I was seeing a hand specialist, and my hand just hurt like hell for seemingly no reason. Though looking back, there were a couple of warning shots that I should have taken a lot more seriously.
Right.
And I was doing very little to prevent it.
Right. Okay. Wow. Well done for coming through that, because that is hard. I've known a couple of musicians where it's just floored them, and they've lost interest in it over the year or so, or whatever. So that's...
See, that's what I never did. For me, I guess it is a make or break thing. And for me, it did make me realise what I'm doing it for, why I like it, and to make me appreciate just being able to play. And then being able to share it is also amazing, because I can share it and demo things without thinking, I can't do that because that will hurt my hand. It's total freedom now. But it also meant me diversify a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry, forgot how to speak then. So as soon as I started to be able to play guitar again, I thought, okay, so that movement of playing guitar might end up being bad for me, and might end up in the future I'll just get back in the position where I can't play again. But I was like, you've got one hand, let's do piano lessons. Because piano was my first instrument.
Okay.
So I've done 15 or so YouTube videos on Andy piano. One of them's already gone over 1 million views.
No way.
It's ridiculous that it's grown the amount that it has, because it really has been abandoned for the last year.
Okay.
But we've had everything on the guitar stuff because it just couldn't be going better, and it's too good of an opportunity. To really hit it home and to get established properly.
Okay.
You know, for years to come, not just for the couple of years. Like it's right up there now.
Okay.
Frankly, like you're saying, how do you come up with YouTube lessons? Like lesson plans for YouTubes and courses. Like I've got a chart full of about 30 of them. You know, just courses and single lessons, sheets for reams through. I can just think of them.
Yeah.
And for piano, I know exactly what I'm going to do for about the first 100 videos.
Wow.
I'm like, it's going to be these. Some obvious songs, a beginner's course. You know, I know where it will be, but it is just time planning and creating and filming and stuff.
Well, exactly. It sounds like you're pretty busy already.
Yeah, it's true.
So the reason I actually got in touch with you in the first place, coming back to music and stuff, is because you're obviously having lessons with one of our tutors in Brighton. Jared,
he's fantastic.
Amazing,
and
Jared.
He teaches a kid, like an 8-year-old kid. I forget the lad's name. I'm so sorry. But the kid follows my lessons, of course. So he's like, I think the kid asked him who was his most advanced student, and he said me. So I was like, yes.
Congratulations.
And what's the hardest thing you're working on at the moment? And it was some fingerstyle thing. I think a Tommy Emmanuel piece. And I've been learning. Because, with the hand injury, one thing that does set it off a little bit, or that I can't do like I used to, or don't have total freedom with, is the really fast leads with string bending.
Okay.
Like that sort of thing. It was a style of guitar that I was into. I was never into shred, but fast rock guitar solos I was really into.
Okay.
And I just can't spend all my time doing that like I used to.
Gotcha.
It will start to ache, and it will be like I shouldn't do that too much.
Okay.
But chord grips and actual grip strength, fine.
Really?
And especially when it's slightly more static as well. And then I thought, well, focus more on the right hand.
Yeah.
I've got an interest in fingerstyle, but I've always been crap at it. So I've basically been having fingerstyle lessons every 2 weeks for 2 years, 1-to-1.
Fantastic. Because that was my question. Like, what, as a massive guitar tutor, you know, it is obviously important to still learn, no matter how good you get at the guitar. But what were you learning? And so it's Tommy Emmanuel style stuff, is it? Or just all over the place?
Yeah. Travis picking was always something that I sucked at and I could never get a handle on.
Yeah.
But also there's a lot of fingerstyle pieces that are beautiful, that sound great with singing. A lot of Beatles songs and Fleetwood Mac songs. That I'm like, I can sing these and I could strum them, but I can't do the fingerstyle and sing. So I was like, there's too many things I need to work through with fingerstyle without the guidance of someone, especially seeing as, frankly, I'm going to have to practice it a lot. And if I practice it badly, I'm going to get injured again. So I was like, let's do this properly. I'm earning a living. I have a duty to pass on the right stuff. Let's get more influence. And that's been wonderful. And Jared is one of those people that's just a phenomenal player. And I have the advantage of having a bit more I would say a lot more teaching experience, mainly because I'm older. But you know, I have a lot more teaching experience than him. So often I'm picking his brains, and then I'm making the lesson plan. Right, Jared. So I want this, and this. What would you do with that? You know, I'll challenge him with that.
That's hilarious.
His little brain. Sorry, that's so condescending. But sometimes his mind's just like, I've not really thought about it like that. But and then he'll just come out with this genius thing that I'm like, that's brilliant. You should remember that, and I'm going to remember that and pass it on loads. You know, those sorts of things. It's magic.
I know my colleague Ollie talks to him a lot, and he does say, you know, at first it was stressful to have one of the world's most well-known guitar teachers in his studio teaching him. It was a hard, it's definitely learn by fire there, because that was intense. But it sounds like you're both benefiting from that scenario.
Well, 100%. But this is it. A lot of my higher level knowledge of music in general, I've learned elsewhere and then applied to guitar. So a lot of I historically I've been better at piano than I have guitar. I did get sort of grade 7, grade 8. I mean, I wouldn't be able to just blast out a grade 8 song now. I have to admit, it would be a case of refreshing the memory and stuff, and a few weeks of practice, but I'd be able to do it. And with guitar stuff, it was always more like, what am I going to be able to gig? Unless I can perform it, I'll be honest, wasn't interested.
Sure.
And some of my higher level knowledge comes a lot from film music as well, because that was part of my degree. My dissertation was actually in film music.
Okay.
And using technology with that as well, using MIDI to make film soundtracks essentially. With samples and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, how do you approach a lot of these higher level things as a guitar player, and especially on acoustic? Because for a lot of people, acoustic is, strumming your songs and having a sing.
Yeah.
And then learning a couple of fingerstyle pieces like Blackbird or something. And that's it. The majority of people never get beyond that. And when you see someone doing the Tommy Emmanuel thing, especially when you see it live, it's like, bloody hell, that doesn't happen overnight. It's a real thing. Like, even I can say it and see it now and go, props to you, because it takes so long to learn.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of fine tuning as well. So it's just been amazing to get the perspective of him, who's Jared is beyond where I will likely ever get to with guitar playing, and long may it continue for him,
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have a knack of being able to take a lot of higher level stuff, all the easy stuff, and just make it come across to the person.
Yeah, that's the skill.
And I'm fully aware that that's one thing that I do well, or better than most.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's wonderful to be able to pick the brains of someone who's amazing. So
very shortly, within the next year, we'll be seeing How to Play Like Tommy Emmanuel for Beginners course.
For beginners, yeah. Well, that's it. Because I'm asking them a lot about jazz, really, because a lot of jazz guitar is what the higher level stuff becomes. Even if you're playing blues or rock, it will be communicated to you as, this is a jazz concept, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so let's go higher level in that. Even though I'm only going to pick bits out of it, like, what's your jazz approach to modes and things like that? I'm now asking those sorts of questions and getting some really, not one answer, like a whole solid way of thinking and way to communicate it.
Nice.
So when I come around to filming those, I think they're going to have a unique perspective of them. Because it is coming through this filter of, having a background of knowledge of it, but then getting the knowledge from someone who's a phenomenal guitar player, but a ton of experience of calling a spade a spade. So that's where I think, like, over the next year, I can do some really cool stuff on YouTube that is very different and hasn't been seen before. And I kind of want to. I'll be hitting 1 million subscribers in about a year, it would seem.
Wow.
Should predictions go correctly.
Yeah, wow.
But I don't want to stumble over it. I want to smash over it. I want like one of the newer courses to be like a real YouTube hit.
Yeah.
Rather than just relying on the historic ones. You talk about like getting recognized and stuff. Like, people mistake me for people all the time. Okay. Like, as many people, I was at the Foo Fighters gig at the weekend in the inner pit, and there was a good 3 or 4 people did actually recognise me.
Wow.
But I've taught a lot of Foo Fighters songs.
Okay, nice.
So it's not like, trust me, I can go to Morrison's and I ain't getting mobbed. No one cares. But people do stop me and go, "Are you PewDiePie? Or
whoa,
are you Rory off of Doctor Who?"
That's a good one.
Like, far too often.
That's a good one. You must feel like if you go into a guitar shop, like GAC in Brighton or something like that, you're gonna be recognised instantly, right?
Not happened yet. Not in the music shop down in Brighton.
No.
But I have been recognised out and about by genuine people who go, "I follow your lessons."
Amazing.
But the only time it was like silly was going to one of the guitar shows thing, where they're selling loads of vintage or different guitars. It was at a race course, so it was quite a big event. And that was like, if I went into most rooms, someone would tap me on the shoulder and go, "You're either Andy Guitar or you look a lot like him." It's when I talk though as well. If I speak to anyone and one of those things, they go, "Oh, it's him."
Yeah, that's
regional accent, man.
It's all in that accent.
It's actually a godsend.
Yeah. Thanks again to Andy for taking the time to have a chat with me. And if you guys enjoyed the video, please hit the like, please comment, and also please subscribe to see more videos from myself and Your Guitar.